The destruction, the damage, and the quick decisions that may have saved lives.
We're in the basement, we were hiding. And
Tornado terror.
Apparently there was a second one, maybe a third one.
Taking shelter as roofs peel away like wallpaper.
The doors kept opening and closing.
I mean, anywhere you look, there's metal and just insulation, all kinds of stuff.
From the hail damage to the flooding to the tornado aftermath, Alabamians endure a scary night and thankful at first light.
We're going to take this one day at a time. It happens, I hate it, but I'm just glad nobody got hurt.
It's obedience to God, we're going to do the true and false ones. To obey God's law is one of the most important things you can do as a Christian. Is that true or false?
Brooke Holderfield is a life coach at Alabama Teen Challenge, a faith-based program that helps drug addicts turn their lives around. Brooke is a former drug addict. She got hooked while dating her boyfriend, who was also an addict.
We started using Lortabs, Oxycontin, that evolved into Dilaudid K4s that eventually led to heroin.
The drug use led to stealing, jail, and eventually Brooke lost custody of her daughter, who was just a year old at the time. Her mother, Imogene, and her father, Mark, took care of her daughter for 4 years.
I was actually the one that called child services. I was frightened. I was frightened for my granddaughter's safety.
What did that do to you inside?
Well, I felt like my identity as a mom was just taken. I felt like my life was being torn apart. My family was being torn apart, and I was mad and broken.
2 years later, Brooke's boyfriend died from a heroin overdose.
I just hit the floor. I can't even describe the feeling that I felt. I just remember just crying a lot that day.
Brooke went to drug rehab and then to Alabama Teen Challenge, where she replaced her need for drugs with God. She's been drug-free for nearly 5 years. She regained custody of her daughter. She got her life back.
I'm very proud of Brooke and all that she's accomplished and how much I've seen her grow.
Brooke counsels other women who are trying to stay off drugs. One success story, Hannah Carmack, a former heroin addict who was one of Brooke's students.
She's taught me how to see myself in Christ. Really just how to be an overcomer, too.
Whew, God, peace is a good thing to have, y'all.
Brooke has totally turned her life around. Helping others succeed is what drives her every day.
It's a dream, really. I mean, that's what I want to do the rest of my life.
Take a close look at this pickup truck. The driver wrote "Tag Applied For" in the spot where the official state license plate is supposed to go. Or how about this car? Same thing, a homemade license plate. And check out this car, and this one, and this one. Well, there's no license plate at all. Sergeant Jason Humphreys is commander of the traffic unit for the Pelham Police Department. He and his team stop vehicles with applied for tags or no license plates.
If we pull you over for no tag and you bought it a month ago, 2 months ago, you're over the 20-day grace period to be able to get your tag. You will be issued a citation for failure to register your vehicle within 20 days.
According to the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, there were nearly 114,000 car tag violations reported by police departments across the state last year. That's a 14% increase over the year before. That includes violations for tags that expired, improper tags, or even no license plate on the back of the car. State law requires you to have an application for a certificate of title in the car during the 20-day grace period after you buy it. After that, you'll need a license plate that's furnished by your local licensing office. Otherwise, state law says you could face up to $500 in fines and be banned from driving in Alabama from 60 days to 6 months. Jay Starling, the director of the Motor Vehicle Division of the Alabama Department of Revenue, says drivers with homemade license plates or no plates may be trying to stiff the state.
And potentially they are either evading or avoiding paying license fees or taxes on that vehicle.
The annual $23 tag fee helps pay for state troopers and maintenance for roads and bridges. The annual property taxes you pay on your car helps fund local schools and county and city government. Darren Lanier is Deputy Director of the Jefferson County Commission. He's one of the top government officials in the county with the most drivers in the state.
I look at it and say that person needs to comply with the law as everybody else does.
Most of us pay our tag fees and car taxes. We visit the county revenue department or pay online. Drivers who follow the law are frustrated by those who don't.
But if I have to pay my taxes, I want everybody else to pay theirs too.
But now I feel like I should just go and like knock on their door and be like, hey man, just go pay your taxes. Because that's only fair, right?
Of course, our safety review starts now because we're in a congested area, and this is where you can get in trouble sometime quicker than you can on an interstate.
Tommy Giles leads orientation for new drivers and drives an 18-wheeler for the Montgomery Transport trucking firm.
Just making sure all my straps are rolled up tight.
The company hauls steel, pipe, and building materials all over the country. He loves being out on the road.
We live in a beautiful country, and most people never get to see this country. So as a truck driver, you're afforded an opportunity to travel, to see things that a lot of other people will never see.
Giles has driven more than 1 million miles during his trucking career without an accident. That's because he's constantly on guard, checking the road ahead and checking mirrors every few seconds.
A pickup truck just moved into the lane directly behind me without giving a signal. I don't really know what his plan is, but I'll keep an eye on him.
Giles has seen just about everything out on the road, especially automobile drivers who are preoccupied with their cell phones. But he's seen other types of distracted driving too.
Seen people with newspapers on their steering wheel, driving down the interstate, turning the pages of the newspaper. I have seen people changing clothes, driving down the interstate.
According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, distracted driving is blamed for 9 deaths and more than 1,000 people injured in crashes every day. The accidents happen because drivers take their eyes off the road, their hands off the wheel, and their mind off of driving. Giles has an important message for all drivers.
And I just wish people would understand that it's only one moment's mistake out here on the road that can create a terrible tragedy.
This is Marc Sussman outside the taxpayer-funded Cooper Green Mercy Health Services. The facility provides primary, urgent, and specialty care for Jefferson County residents who can't afford to pay. Sussman's salary? Nearly $92,500 a year handling special administrative projects at Cooper Green. That includes preparing grant proposals. Sussman was arrested at his Mountain Brook home in May 2017 on charges of possession of child pornography. He was released from jail after posting bond. He was on the job and drawing a salary for more than a year. Natalia Bailey is applying to be a Cooper Green patient.
It doesn't settle well at all, knowing that I have a 1-year-old son. And the type of charges that he has, he shouldn't be in a facility like this at all, period.
While Cooper Green doctors and nurses treat adults, not children, we still saw children with their parents or other adults walking in and out of this facility. Sally Barnes is a patient.
You know, it's just terrible. It's a horrible situation where a person can stay in that power like that.
Lieutenant Brooke Walker is the commander of the Alabama Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. She told us via email that the task force received an investigative lead from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. It involved the uploading of what she called child exploitation material through the social media site ChatStep that was accessed through the internet at Sussman's residence. Walker described the material as the documented sexual assault on the child victims portrayed in the images. Walker says, I can confirm that Sussman's possession of the illicit images was not an accident and was not a pop-up. She also says, we are confident we have the right house and the right person. So why was Sussman on the job for so long, despite the seriousness of the allegations? Tony Patelis is the chief executive officer for the Jefferson County government. He wouldn't discuss Sussman's case because it's a personnel matter. Speaking in general terms, he says allegations of crimes off the job are very different from allegations of crimes on the job.
Why does it, from your perspective, make sense to go ahead and keep that person on the job?
In this country, you're innocent until you're found guilty. If any employee does anything inappropriate while they're on the job, actions will be taken against them, period.
Patelis would not discuss if any special arrangements were made for Sussman while at Cooper Green. But we're told that Sussman's office was on a floor that was separate from patients and children. Meantime, Patella spoke in general terms about employees using Jefferson County computers.
You know, our computers are secured, and if something happens, we'll know it.
Marion Walker is a nationally ranked labor and employment attorney with Fisher Phillips, one of the largest law firms in the country. I asked her about the county's decision to keep Sussman on the job for so long.
The number one is, this happened on his home computer, allegedly, of course. He's been arrested, not convicted, and he's not in jail. So there's nothing to prevent him from coming to work.